Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Gian, aka Beauty Outspoken, and today we're going to be talking about a very important hair topic, and that is hair growth. When I first began my journey and big chopped, I think I had about 4 or 5 inches of hair, and I could not wait for my hair to grow. We live in a generation where social media, everywhere we scroll, people showing their hair growth, how fast their hair grows, showing comparison shots and all of that. And I can understand how frustrating it can be to see someone begin at the same leg of you on their hair journey and bypass you in the same time, and you're actually making an effort and doing trying and moisturizing and following what YouTubers say that they do, and you're still not getting results. So this video is really to investigate some of the reasons why your hair may not be growing. And before we begin, I'd like to just ask you guys to hit the subscribe button. I upload hair and lifestyle videos once a week. You can also hit the notification bell button so you never miss another upload from me. Okay, that was too much. Let's go. So before we begin, let's just state the facts. Scientifically, hair is supposed to grow at 6 inches a year. Based on your genetics, hair can grow less or hair can grow more, but the emphasis is that hair still grows. And if your hair is not growing, there are a few reasons why it may not be growing, and that's what we're really going to explore. And the first reason I want to discuss, and the reason why I put this at first, is because I think it's the last reason we find when we're searching as to why our hair is not growing or why there may be hair loss, and that is for health reasons. Now, as women of childbearing age, it was only this year, after doing a blood test, I found out that I had low iron, and incredibly low iron, to the point where I was almost anemic. Now, if you go and you have a blood test, and if you're similar than I am, then you would realize that anemia does lead to hair loss. It can stunt hair growth, and you can check out a whole host of YouTube videos with women talking about anemia and how it has really affected their hair growth. I would definitely tell you that if you're experiencing levels of hair loss, definitely go ahead and check your iron levels to see what could be going on there. The second thing I would definitely get checked health-wise is your thyroid. I actually just in research of this video checked out a couple of videos on YouTube, and I'm going to link them below. But hyper and hypothyroidism can also lead to hair loss and also stunting the growth of hair, so that's something that you definitely need to check health wise. The third thing, and one that is extremely prevalent in the Caribbean, is polycystic ovarian syndrome. With this syndrome, you produce an abnormal amount of androgens, and that is essentially the male hormone. Now, sometimes androgens can follow the male pattern of baldness, which is usually in the front area of the scalp. Now, even though you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, it doesn't necessarily mean you will have hair loss, but it is determined by your sensitivity, your follicle sensitivity. So that is something genetic. But if you do find out that you do have polycystic ovarian syndrome, which you can do with an ultrasound, a pelvic ultrasound, if you are experiencing hair loss and some hair issues, your scalp generally stunted growth, then that could be the reason why you have it, as well as you have follicle sensitivity. This is all to say that definitely get up on your health, get checked. If at least once every few years, definitely go ahead and do a pelvic exam, get an ultrasound, check out what's going on with your body internally. Go ahead and do a full blood test, paying attention to your levels, because a lot of times internally that can affect how our hair. The second thing I want to discuss with hair growth has to do with, again, internal. Now, a lot of people ask me, do hair nutrients work? Do hair vitamins work? Are they just a sham? And to be honest, a lot of hair vitamins popularize hair affinity, main choice, aka metabolism. I have it here. A lot of these biotin, these hair, skin, and nails tablets got popularized because, yes, they do work, and the reason why is because they supplement the vitamins that you lack in your meal. Now, if you're anything like me, and especially if you live in the Caribbean, we don't have a lot of healthy food choices to buy out. A lot of times it's either fast food, and if it is local home cooked food, they usually put a lot of grease and a lot of healthy things in there to make it taste good. Now, what that means is that a lot of times we don't get the necessary nutrients. If I'm feeling lazy and I don't feel like cooking a meal, I may just end up in the KFC line, I may end up in the Chinese line, the gyro line, etc. And we all know that these foods do not have all the necessary nutrients in order for my body to be healthy and to function well. So in that case, if you do find that your hair is not growing and you're having issues, definitely look into your diet. See how best you can try to incorporate and develop a well-balanced diet. But until then, you can definitely go ahead and purchase the metabolisms, the hair affinities. I know one is Sugar Bear Hair that you can get into, and if you don't want to do that, you can definitely just go ahead and get a regular multivitamin. The one I take is the GNC Women's Ultra Mega. A lot of the hair vitamins, especially the more all-encompassing ones, have most of the things that multivitamins have, except they have increased level of some ingredients, and usually that is vitamin B7, which is biotin. Some of the ingredients to look out for when you are searching for a vitamin for hair growth is definitely vitamin A, of course vitamin B, biotin. If you are sensitive to high levels of biotin, definitely a multivitamin might be more preferred for you. You can go ahead and check out ones with B12, B6, B3, zinc, iron, vitamin C, vitamin D, and again, most multivitamins have all of these things in there, as well as brands like Main Choice, which also have those nutrients in there. The other thing that you can also take with that to supplement is definitely cod liver oil. Now, cod liver oil, fish oils in general, have high levels of vitamin D. Now, vitamin D is actually linked, if you've seen anybody talk about suffering with alopecia, and research found that persons with alopecia actually had low levels of vitamin D. So having, you know, a supplement to assist with all of that can really just help to balance out the body. So I would definitely tell you to go ahead and check that out. The third thing I want to discuss is scalp health, and this is something that is near and dear to me. When my eczema was extremely bad, I had the worst scalp problems. I had scabs in my scalp, inflamed, it was flaking, it was scabbing a lot, and I had to shampoo so often, and I was extremely frustrated as to what was going on. Definitely, if you have dermatitis, eczema, you have dandruff issues, you will have problems with growing hair. A healthy scalp is the foundation of hair growth, and if your scalp is not healthy, then definitely you're gonna have issues growing your hair as long and as strong as it can be. Now, to solve and supplement that, I had a few solutions. So one of the essential oils that was near and dear to me during my eczema time when it was terrible was tea tree oil, and I used to do 3 things that incorporated tea tree oil in there. The first thing I did is I would put a few drops of tea tree oil in my shampoo, and I would go ahead and shampoo twice with that. It not only felt good and felt very tingling to the scalp, but it also felt very soothing to the scalp, because again, if you have eczema or dermatitis, you know how itchy it can get. The other thing I used to do, and this can help with persons with dandruff as well, is I would do an apple cider vinegar rinse. I would do, I think it was 1 part apple cider to 2 parts water, and dilute it, and just go ahead, and after I deep condition or condition my hair, I would just do a rinse, paying attention to the scalp. What you can also do is get a squeeze tube bottle and just place some of that directly into the scalp and leave it on for about, I would say I used to leave it on for about 5 minutes just to really get in there. And then of course the length of the hair, because apple cider vinegar rinses are amazing to close the cuticles and just to bring back the pH balance of the hair from the conditioning, and just in general to kind of give the cuticles a nice shiny appearance. So I would do that on the length of my hair, let that sit for 5 minutes, and then just go ahead and rinse. And that as well on my scalp felt amazing, and it really did help to curb some of the eczema issues I was having. The third thing that I did, and I still do it to this day, is to oil my scalp. And I used a combination of coconut oil. If you are coconut oil sensitive, you can go ahead and use jojoba oil as your base. And I mixed in tea tree oil and peppermint. You can also add rosemary, which is in a lot of the hair growth things. Oiling your scalp hair growth. Now, one of the secrets, again, as I said, the scalp is the foundation to hair growth. The scalp is also alive. The rest of your hair is dead. A lot of people also ask me, do scalp massages work? And the answer is yes. What you're doing when you go ahead and you take your fingers and you massage the scalp is you are stimulating the hair, the follicles, and telling them, hey, grow a little bit of hair. But basically that's what you're telling them. You are loving them, you are giving them nice healthy oils, especially jojoba oil, which is said to mimic the hair's sebum. And you just go ahead and you massage. You're really just waking them up and giving them a nice massage and a nice jolt of energy, and that can assist with your hair growth. So I would definitely recommend, if you're having hair growth issues due to eczema and stuff like that, or just in general, actually this rule is to massage your scalp. You can go ahead and do this. My rule of thumb is sometimes once a week. You can also go ahead twice a week. If you do have eczema issues, of course, this would just be amazing in general, to soothe the scalp from all the itching and just the annoyances and dandruff. The other thing I want to discuss, and this is the one that is actually the most prevalent when people ask me advice: what are you doing to your hair? A lot of times we complain and we look at persons on YouTube and Instagram and we're envious of their hair, but we also don't really take care of our hair. We wash our hair once every 2 weeks and we don't moisturize in between that time. We just use a moisturizer. We do not seal, so our hair is dry. We have our hair out all the time. We are detangling and using the comb with such force. We're not loving our hair. We're not going in gently. It's just like blah, blah, blah. You can hear the comb and the hair popping and snapping everywhere. You can be the cause. Your styling can be the cause as to why your hair is not growing. Your routine can be the cause as to why your hair is not growing. Your lack of consistency to develop a routine and follow it can be the reason why your hair is not growing. I have a couple videos talking about hair moisture, another video talking about my full routine where I list out product details and tell you guys exactly what I do on wash day and just in general to maintain my hair. And I always talk about the fact that not only the routine was in the videos, and I'll link them of course in the cards, but also the styling and ensuring that you do not style your hair too often. If you are one of those girls who have a twist out and after 1-2 days when your twist out begins to lose definition, you are back in front of the mirror twisting, applying, detangling, etc. all the time. Let's say every 2 days, every time your twists drop a little bit, you're doing that. You are causing hair breakage. So in a sense, your hair is growing, but you're not seeing that growth because you're not retaining length, because any growth you have is breaking off. If you are color treated, are you keeping up with protein treatments? Do you have a nice moisture protein balance? If not, your hair can be snapping and breaking, and that can definitely affect your hair growth. If you're cutting off all the hair growth, if your your hair is breaking at the ends, then how can you really experience hair growth? At the end of the day, anything you grow is being chopped off just as fast or even faster. So sometimes you begin back at square one with your hair because you're growing it's growing, but all the styling and the negative things you're doing to your hair is affecting it. So again, I will link those 2 videos so you can get detailed tips. I didn't want to include too much because I didn't want the video to be too long, but definitely pay attention to how often you style your hair, how you detangle your hair, what is your moisture routine like, your deep conditioning routine like, how you style the hair. Is it out all the time? Do you sometimes do protective styling to protect your ends? Things like that is extremely important. And that leads into the next question, trims. Now, naturals are afraid of trims. I think a big deal with naturals and trims is that if you didn't come from relaxed, so for me, when you're relaxed, you're more often to go to a salon because usually most people don't attempt to apply the relax at home. I know I'm not hair versed, so I always went to a salon. Usually the hairdresser would in that time do a hair inspection, and you might get a little bit of a trim each time that you relax. So even in that mindset, you are accustomed to having trims. So if someone wants to transition from relaxed to natural, they're definitely in a more trim important and oriented mindset than somebody who was natural all their life and barely went to hairdressers to really inspect the hair. Now think about it this way: you have been natural for 5 years, you have never trimmed your hair. The hair in your scalp is 1 second old. The hair on your ends are 5 years old. Your hair on the ends have withstood all the styling, all the bleaching, sometimes the dyeing, all of that. You've never touched a scissors. Of course, your ends are going to be split. And what that means is that the splits with time are going to travel up the hair shaft, and you're going to have thinning, and your hair is just not going to be the healthiest looking, and eventually you're going to have a situation where you're figuring out it's going to be falling, it's going to be breaking everywhere. You're trying to figure out, why is my hair not growing? It is growing, but again, you are losing a lot of hair because you are afraid to pick up the scissors. Definitely don't be afraid. Usually for me, a rule of thumb is once every 4 months you can just go ahead and do a trim. Something like 1/4 of an inch is perfectly fine. You can also do once a year a big trim. Again, if you wait to do that, then you may lose more hair, because if you're really having some breakage issues and split ends, waiting all the way until the following 12 months can really just affect the hair in a bad way. You may lose more hair versus going more periodically and finding somebody that you trust who will not just yap away at all your hair to go ahead and give you a nice trim. That was actually my last point as to some of the issues why your hair may not be growing, and I'll just go ahead and recap. The first thing, of course, is health issues, internal health issues that led us into talking about your diet, ensuring that you have a balanced diet in order to prepare your body for good hair growth. The other thing was, of course, scalp being a foundation for hair growth. The other thing was your styling routine, how you treat your hair, how you detangle, how you have your moisture protein balance can affect your hair growth. And lastly, again, trims and being consistent with your trims. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that as much I would have opened your eyes to kind of scrutinize your current routine and see how you can adjust and do and make a few changes in order to experience healthier hair and more hair growth. If you did enjoy this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. You can go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already and you're waiting to see if I gave you enough information before you subscribe. I hope that I did. Of course, you can comment your thoughts on the video. You can also comment any tips that you think I would have missed in my discussion. That would be amazing. I could learn something. Persons in the comments can also learn something. Let's create a dialogue. Thank you guys so much for watching.